Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving headfirst into something pretty wild, a theory, right from the edges of physics, that tries to explain the paranormal.
So let's just jump right in with a really big question, a pretty provocative idea that's at the core of what we're looking at today. What if all those things, ghosts, near-death experiences, even UFOs, what if they're not separate mysteries at all? What if they actually share a common physical explanation? You know, the source material we're digging into is just packed with these personal stories, really strange, unexplained stuff. I mean, get this. One person's focused thought apparently forces someone else to go through this whole complex physical routine, completely against their will. Can you imagine? The guy was understandably terrified. And it doesn't stop there. It also gets into these incredibly powerful near-death experiences. You know, people describing encounters with beings of light, feeling like their consciousness is totally separate from their body. These are the kinds of experiences that just completely challenge how we think about life and death. Then you have the UFO sightings. And we're not talking about blurry lights in the sky. This one account describes an object that was a mile away 1 second, and then, poof, it's just 10 feet away. Instantly, silently. A move that, well, according to our current understanding of physics, should be completely impossible.
Okay, so these are exactly the kinds of stories that mainstream science usually just brushes aside, right? Calls them anecdotal or says it's all in your head. But for one physicist, these weren't just stories. To him, they were clues. They were data points that hinted at a reality we're not seeing. And his journey to figure it all out, well, it would lead him to question pretty much everything we thought we knew about physics.
So you're probably wondering, who is this physicist? Well, the source introduces us to this guy, a thinker who looks at all these things that seem completely disconnected, and he sees a single thread tying them all together. And get this, he thinks that thread is woven from the very fabric of physics itself. All right, let's put a name to the face. The man behind this quest is a Finnish theoretical physicist named Matti Pitkänen.
Now, as you can probably guess, Pitkänen's journey hasn't been easy. The source makes it pretty clear he's been professionally isolated. I mean, the moment he decided to tackle consciousness from a physics point of view and to actually take these paranormal stories seriously, well, that pushed him and his work way out to the fringes of academia.
But here's the thing. Instead of backing down, he just doubled down. He spent decades developing this massive, all-encompassing framework he calls Topological GeometroDynamics, or TGD for short. It's his shot at a theory of everything. So the big question is, what on earth is it? Okay, let's try to break this down. At its heart, TGD paints a really radical new picture of reality. I mean, it's a picture that's fundamentally different from the standard physics we all learn about.
So, you know how standard physics talks about a single spacetime? Forget that. TGD imagines an infinite hierarchy of them, kind of like a cosmic onion with endless layers. So you can picture reality as like countless universes or sheets, all nested inside each other, and they're all communicating. This whole layered idea is the foundation for, well, everything else in the theory.
And TGD's ambition isn't just about the cosmos, stars and galaxies. It's also deeply personal. This diagram here really shows it. The theory goes right after the hard problem of consciousness. It's trying to describe what it means to be aware, but not just with philosophy, with the actual language of geometry and physics.
Okay, one of the absolute core ideas in this theory is something called the magnetic body. Now just think of it like this. It's a personal field of energy, of consciousness that isn't stuck inside your skull. It actually extends out beyond your physical body. And according to TGD, that body, the magnetic body, is the real you. It's the true seat of your identity and your awareness, not your biological brain. And if that's not enough, the theory completely flips our idea of time on its head. It suggests that signals can actually be sent to what it calls the geometric past, and that our consciousness can receive information from the geometric future. And this is absolutely crucial. It's the key to how the theory tries to explain things like premonitions or clairvoyance.
All right, so we've got these really huge kind of abstract ideas, right? A magnetic body, a new concept of time. So how does all of this loop back to those strange stories we talked about at the beginning?
Well, this is where it all comes together, and you can really see the theory's massive ambition. An out-of-body experience? Simple. That's just your magnetic body seeing the world from somewhere else. Clairvoyance? That's your brain picking up signals from the future. Those weird UFOs? Maybe they're intelligent life forms made of plasma. Even near-death experiences get an explanation. It's just consciousness naturally persisting.
For everything paranormal, the theory offers up a potential physical mechanism.
And the source material really spells this out for us. It presents the magnetic body as a kind of physical version of these ancient spiritual ideas, like the astral body or astral projection. It's literally trying to build a scientific foundation for things people have felt intuitively for centuries.
When you get right down to it, the ultimate goal here is to completely erase that line between what we call normal and paranormal. In the world of TGD, these weird events aren't supernatural. They're not breaking the laws of physics. They're just natural. They're features of a much deeper, more complex reality that we're only just starting to understand.
Okay, but if this theory really explains so much, you have to ask, where does it stand with the rest of the scientific community? What do other physicists think?
And this is where we hit the big problem, the central tension of the whole thing. On the one hand, TGD offers this incredible, unified vision of everything. But on the other hand, the source points out a massive flaw. It doesn't really make any testable predictions. And in science, if you can't run an experiment to prove a theory right or wrong, well, it stays a fascinating philosophy, but it's not going to become mainstream science.
So what we're left with is this really human story of its creator, Matti Pitkänen. Here's a guy who's driven by this one singular, passionate vision. He's chasing his life's work just for the pure joy of the intellectual adventure, whether the mainstream accepts it or not.
So what's the big takeaway here? I think it's this. We've just looked at a really fascinating, incredibly audacious attempt to build a bridge. A bridge between two worlds that seem like they could never meet. The super rigorous world of theoretical physics and the deeply personal, often profound world of paranormal experience.
And that leaves us with one last big question to chew on. Is a theory of everything that explains everything in danger of becoming a theory of nothing? I mean, if a theory is so vast that it can explain any possible outcome, does it lose its power as a scientific tool? It's a question that really pushes us to think about the boundaries of science, of belief, and what it even means to truly explain the universe we live in.
Thanks for joining us for this explainer.